Hi everyone. I know that not all of us have a lot of space to craft. And so I wanted to show you what Ann and I came up with so we could just take something to the table or the counter and work together and have the things that we need. So this is very small space crafting. The total of this is 38 inches wide and 32 inches deep, including the space to work. So let's just go through and I'll show you what we've come up with. Okay, so let's start out with this caddy that I use to hold all of my markers and pens and colored pencils, those kinds of things. And this is something that I got at Hobby Lobby, this bin thing. And so I'm just going to take things out and just show you what I have in there. Some markers, a ruler, these tools that I got off of Amazon. It's the little reverse tweezers and those kinds of things. And so watercolor pencils, I've had these for years and years. I have had these aquarelle watercolor crayons. I have in here all of my different types of brush markers and pens. These glass insides. This bin fits 3 of those perfectly. I really love those square glass insides that I got at the dollar store years ago. And so I have in here my different Tombow markers, all of the different pens and things, my white speedball pen that I like to do to put in accents and things. It all fits so perfectly in here. So I put 3 of those square glass containers across the middle, and then I can fit both my watercolor pencils and my watercolor crayons in there. And then I can also put my other little tools in there, and they just fit so nicely. I always keep a ruler in this because I use a ruler quite often. And then I've also got some special pens and markers that I use for scriptures that don't bleed through. And so I really like those. So all of that is just all handy in one place. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is where I keep my specialty papers and my paper cutter. So this is a bag from 31 Bags, I think it was, that I've had for years. It's got these front pockets. So in there we put all kinds of things that just sort of are random that we use, but maybe haven't decided on an exact spot for them. I keep my paper cutter in there. And then these little bags are actually from By the Well for God. They're little kits that we have ordered over several months that we've been trying out and really that we quite like. And then all of my specialty papers. I have clear sticker paper because I like to print my own stickers. So I have both clear and white. This is a new pack that I got. What I did use was Avery, and that has run out. I used that all up, and so I got a bigger pack off of Amazon. And of course, if I can find it, I'll link it below. This is premium photo paper that I found at the dollar store and thought I'd like to try. And then this is one of those job tickets. I've talked about these in past videos where this is where I store my paper, mostly paper scraps. And then this is also one of those envelopes that I get at the dollar store that I like so much. I have projects in here and then some random papers as well that I need. I usually keep some cardstock on hand. So I put the papers at the back of this container because then I know I can just approach it from the back and just grab the papers out. And all of these scraps, I just brought together several different colors so that I could have them upstairs in our smaller craft space and easy to grab. So all of these specialty papers just fit so easily into this 31 Bags bin. And I just really like it. So look around your house, find the things that you have that will work. When Ann and I put this together, I did not buy any new containers. I went through what I already had and just assembled all of the things together that we needed. These little bows that I'm going to be putting in this pocket, those are the ones that we put on our scripture journal cards, and it's one of Ann's favorite part of our basically our Bible cards, our faith decks cards. And so this is so handy. I do have to clean this out periodically because paper starts getting pushed in. And just like any other crafting system, you've got to maintain it. So this is the space where we work. And what I did is I just got a whole bunch of paper. This is paper that would be thrown away. They were misprinted, or we got paper from somewhere and we're not going to use it. And I just paper clipped it together. And this then is the work surface, because then you can use your inks and not get it on your table. You can glue and tape on it, and then just take that top page and throw it out. And you can make notes on it, you can draw on it, and then you just throw it away. But it keeps your work surface clean, it protects your table. And then when all is said and done, you just put everything back away right where it belongs. And if you will do that every time when you're finished with your crafting, this will be a system that will work well for you. This bunch of paper, this could be a clipboard. You could use a notebook, but it just fits so nicely in with the other paper products, and just easy to transport and a nice way to protect your surface when you are crafting. So now let's move on to the main bulk of our craft system. All right, so I always start with a mat. Now, this is a mat that I made. I got two plastic kind of fabrics from Walmart and sewed them together just to create a mat that would protect our table. And then I found this tray that we already had at home. My son made this for me for Christmas. I love it. It is sturdy and can hold all kinds of things. It's a good size, and I've used it for all kinds of different things, but it has come in so handy. So when you're looking for a tray to use for your crafting center, make sure it is very sturdy and a good size. So then I went through all kinds of containers that I already had. And I had this divided wooden container, and you can kind of move the little divider things if you don't want them, but it just works so perfectly. And so I thought this would go great with this tray. I also found at the dollar store these plastic containers. I've had them for a very, very long time. And so I started fitting them in, kind of getting an idea of where things might fit on this tray and make it so that it is most useful and keep things separated and in the spot where they needed to be. I got a whole bunch of supplies that Anne and I had used over time that had worked its way upstairs out of the main craft room, and I just started putting things away, finding a spot where they would go. So we have our gold paper clips that we use for our fabric little tabs. And so I just put those in a space where it fit. And I knew I wanted to keep some of my color ideas, my smaller colored paper that we actually use quite a bit. And then I saw that in that space, my little acrylic block for stamping would fit right in there. Now, every time I use that, when I put it away, I put it there, so I know where it goes. And then I put adhesives in our next little spot. I like to keep adhesives together. And then this will be at the back of the tray. So I put some of my taller things, my pixie spray, water, and alcohol. And then one of my favorite tools is that little Xyron sticker maker. Now, I have shown you downstairs in my main craft room this very same thing, so I duplicated it for this tray, where I get my little bottle of glue and a mason jar. I put a damp baby wipe in there. The glue has a stainless steel pin that keeps it from rusting and plugging, and then I keep it in there. I never have a plugged glue bottle using this system, and so you can always re-dampen that baby wipe when you need to, when it dries out, and it doesn't need to be wet, just damp. And then I got another one of these glass jars that I've had from the dollar store, and I put all of my inking brushes in there. I love that. It's great. I used to have a different thing to hold them that I just really hated. And so this works so much better. I need to do a video on things I do not like and things I do, and I will do that in the future. And then I have two main ink pads that I keep up here. My black that I love, it's an obsidian black, and then a Versamark pad, and they just fit so well in that end. So as you're going through, just you'll start to see, oh, this little place has popped up or that little place. And of course, your arrangement is going to be different than mine because you have different supplies. You have different containers. Your tray will be a different size. But what I'm trying to show you here is just keep working with it and fiddle with it and make your things fit. And we have slowly brought all of our Distress Oxide inks upstairs, so I might as well keep them up here. And it's just kind of fun to do the puzzle of how to fit everything together, where to put things, where it will be handy. And over time, I have traded these things out. I have moved things around on the tray. I've taken things out and put them in my main craft room because we don't use them much. I've brought other things up. And so this is a little bit of a puzzle, but it's certainly something that is doable that you could arrange. And so you can see me just kind of working through it, fiddling around. Now, I do like these smaller plastic little trays because I can separate things. And in here I have my alphabet stickers, some things we're working on, currently used things. I've got a little paper pad, but most of this is currently used supplies. These scissors I bought from Amazon. I'll link them below. They are Teflon non-stick scissors. I love them because I do a lot of cutting of tape and other adhesives, two-sided tape, foam tape, and the stickers just get all gummed up, and these don't. I have loved them, so I'll link them below. In this little tray, what I'm putting in is some, I'll move this so you can see this, but I'm putting in this tray some of our smaller stamp sets that we actually use more often. You can see I have a die here. That'll go back downstairs because that's where my die cutting machine is. And so that'll go downstairs. So just like everything else, you have to weed out, clean it out every now and then as your interests change and as your supplies change. So you just keep maintaining it. Okay, so I put those two in. I'm keeping the scissors in the very front. That is probably my number one most used tool. So I might as well keep it within easy reach and right where I need it to be. So now once those two things are in place, you can see that I've got some space behind. And so I'm going to use that space too. And I've collected things that I use on a regular basis when Ann and I are doing our Faithdex cards. So I had this plastic container that held rubber stamps, and I'm so glad I didn't get rid of it. So I showed on my last video that I was cutting down different papers and watercolor paper into that 4x6 size, so it would just be an easy grab for our Faithdex cards. So that's where I keep all of this. If there's scraps of other sizes, I just keep that in that job ticket holder with the scrap paper. But these are the 4x6 cards that we use for our Faithdex journaling. Then also back there, I've got some cool pouches that I really like. Both of these came from Hero Arts with some other things in them. This pouch includes a whole bunch of stencils, and we actually use stencils quite a bit, and so those all fit in that pouch, and there aren't a lot, so it still lays relatively flat. And then in this pouch, I have some embellishments, some Post-it notes, some tags, just some other, these are picture frames, just some other materials and embellishments that we use that also sit relatively flat. So it goes really nicely in these Hero Arts bags. And you can get bags like this from all over. You could use a makeup bag or a Ziploc bag, and they just fit so neatly in that space. So my goal in creating this is to actually work it like a puzzle and do use your space and get the things you need there. And also, if you're using up most of your space, your items aren't shifting around as you move this onto the table. And then I always keep a garbage nearby. This is just an old Kleenex box that I cut the top off of, and I just stick it in there, and that's one of the first things I pull out when we start our crafting. And so then I also have some metallic watercolors, some other smaller little ink drops, I guess you would call them. And then I want to show you actually something we use every card, and that is our date stamp. And so I just made a little piece of paper to go around it so I don't get a lot of ink on my tray. And then it just so happened I had just that tidy little spot where it would hold into place. And that's one of the fun things about this kind of a system is you just find little spaces, and it's wonderful. So I have my big ATG runner. I could put it in the little garbage box. I can stick it in this space. I can move things around until I get things really done in a way that works for me and where they're not shifting too much. And then the last thing I want to show you, I just love my Xyron sticker makers. This is a large one, so when everything is put away, it just goes there in the box. And then, of course, when it's time to use it, things just come out. We set our space up. While we're using our garbage, that Xyron sticker maker can just fit in my tray. And I set up my space, and I just love it. I love how handy, how convenient it is. And if you make a mat similar to the one that I showed you there, it won't scratch your table, and you can slide it around. But this tray, it's heavy, but you saw Anne could carry it. I can carry it, and we're never carrying it very far from the counter to the table or whatever. So when it's time to set things up, you just get out your paper, you set up your little garbage container, your sticker makers, your pens and pencils are already in their own space in a bin. And so that's just so handy. Everything is within easy reach. I don't have to have a lot of stuff laying out on the table next to me because it's all just right there in easy reach. But the truth is, we all know how crafting goes, and you always end up with stuff all around you and everywhere. At any point, if you feel like, wow, I'm running out of space, you just go through and start putting a few things away. It's right there, so easy to put away. You don't even have to get out of your chair. But once you're all done, cleanup is so simple with a smaller, more compact system like this. Everything has a spot. It always goes back to the same place. And if you don't like that, you can always switch it around. But look how easy cleanup is when you have this kind of a system. So things put away in the same spot every time, and done. And then what we usually do is we take this, and because we use our kitchen table to eat, so we just keep it on a counter. It could be kept in a counter in a back room. It could be kept in a closet, on a shelf. They're in an office. There are just so many places you can put something this compact. And so we just keep it on the counter, and then when we're ready for it, we bring it to the kitchen island and sit together and create our crafts. And it's so handy, so easy. It makes so much sense. I hope this compact craft space video has helped you in some way, and that you'll give it a try too and enjoy the puzzle of creating a compact, portable craft system. Remember, people matter more than things, and we'll see you next time.